Hello, I'm Gordon. I'm your museum artist for this session. And in a previous session, we had you making finger puppet trilobites. And what we thought you might like to do now is add something a little bit more dangerous to the trilobites world. We're going to make some predatory fish. You might go for something like a coelacanth like this. You might want to do some prehistoric sharks. You might like to get really carried away and do something ferocious like a Dunkleosteus. Strictly speaking, these come from a time before even our limestone was being made. They belong to 350 to 400 million years ago. But I'm prepared to stretch the point because Dunkleosteus is just so exciting. They're 15 meters long, so try pacing that out down your hall and see if one would fit in your house. But now, let's look at sharks and fish. I'll put them out the way. To do this, you need some card. You could use scrap card. Old birthday cards or Christmas cards work quite well. I'm just using some leftover bits and pieces. And I'm going to do a coelacanth first. I'm taking my sheet of card, folding it in half. I'm going to very quickly draw my fish. There we go. Little fish drawing song. I'm not going to put the side fins on, these ones, because we'll put them on separately. So let's do that. That's not a very good coelacanth, but it will do for just now. Let's make that fin a bit bigger. That one a bit more like that. And then we cut him out, or her. Who knows? Cutting out song. Once you've cut out your animal, you need to colour them in, make them look as interesting as possible. We don't know what colours prehistoric fish were, so you could perhaps look at modern fish and think about what colours their prehistoric ancestors might have used. They might be camouflaged. They might be camouflaged like open sea sort of camouflage in blues and greys. They might be coral reef camouflage, which is bright and colourful. They might be all sorts of things, but you could draw in an eye, put on some scales, maybe use a gel pen if you've got one to get a bit of a shimmer in there. Maybe stick on a wobbly eye if you had one handy. I think that could go in there. I'm just doing one side of this fish, but of course we really need to do both sides. I'm just going to glue that eye on. Now, my glue got all stuck up the other day, so I'm having to stick it in a bowl like that, using a bit of a end of a pencil. Do that. Stick an eye on. There we go. And as I said, we need to do the other side as well, so that we had a matching pair of fish. So, no, I'm not going to do that all just now, but we could do that. Then we're going to stick them together. Now, to do that, we don't need a lot of glue, but just a little bit of glue at the nose and a little bit of glue on the tail. Fish tails are usually flat, so if you cover the whole of the tail with glue, that would give you a slightly more realistic finish. And they're going to glue together. Now, while that's sitting like that, I'm going to use a scrap bit of leftover card to do those side fins. So they're lobe fins in a coelacanth, so they're quite a special shape. They look and work almost like little legs. And the exciting thing about coelacanths is that they're still alive. 300 million years later, they are still swimming in our seas. They're quite rare. They live at great depth. They're just fabulous fish. So if you like the thought of a coelacanth, you could look them up and see if you can find some film of them. Now, I'm just going to put two fins on. There should really be another pair at the back there for a coelacanth. And then I'm going to use another bit of my scrap card to make a little finger hold. Now I'm going to staple this. You could glue it, you could fix it together with a bit of sticky tape, you could fit it inside the fish with a bit of sticky tape, and I've just pinged the head open, so I'll put them back together in a minute. Now I'm going to put that in like that, putting it in at a bit of an angle, sliding the stapler in, and making sure I don't staple the fins down. Everything's falling to bits today. Goodness me. There we go. One there. And then one on the other side. I think I'm going to staple that nose done now. Pop those fins back on. I might put another staple because we're having to work quickly and not got time for things to dry. There we go. Those fins are in place. Tuck a finger in there, and we have a coelacanth ready to swim. Now, if you want to do a shark, they're both fiddlier and easier all at the same time. So for a shark, we need to start with one bit of card, like this. I'm going to fold that in half, like that. Now I'm just going to do a sort of general shark. If you wanted to look at these ones with really unusual mouths or strange growths on their back, look at how this general one's made and then adapt it to suit yourself. So just now, that's going to be my shark. I'm going to start with a nose at this end, around to a tail at that end. Now I've not put the tail on, that's all right. Eye, gills, and I'm going to do a little smiley mouth there. Then, keeping it folded, and of course look, I've drawn on the fold, we cut around there. I'm going to reposition that mouth and cut out the smiley mouth. I think I'm doing a cheerful shark. Open it up and we have our shark. We could then start decorating if you want to. There's our gills. Let's get some gills in that side. Let's find another googly eye or two if we can. There was one. Here's the other one. Quick bit of glue. Eyes on. It would help if eyes would just come up off the table, wouldn't it? Now, before we do all the finishing touches, let's add fin, dorsal fin, pectoral fins on the side, and a tail. Now I've got my leftover bits of card. I think I'm going to use this bit here to do the dorsal fin. That's the fin on the back. I'm going to make my fin much bigger than it should be, and you'll see why in just a minute, and then cut that out. And then I'm going to put a cut in the middle of the fin about 1 centimetre long. That will become important in a minute. Let's just fold those like that. Now, if you haven't got a knife and somebody who can use it, at this point you could glue and maybe tape your fin on there so it's standing up. If you've got a knife, like this one, what you could do is turn it over, do a little cut where you want the fin to go, tuck the fin, get it round the right way, tuck the fin through so that it sits like that, then put a bit of glue on there and another bit of glue here. Hold that down, maybe put a little bit of sticky tape on there to hold it while the glue dries. One side. Two sides. Get your knife out of the way so you don't cut yourself. And we have a shark's fin standing up. Now, with some of my leftover bits of card, I'm going to do those side fins. So let's do that. I'm going to cut out two of them. And again, a little bit of glue. Get them on just behind the gills. And again, you could hold them in place with a bit of sticky tape, or I think I'm going to do it with a quick stapler. There we go. 1, 2. Then finally, we need a tail. Now for this, I'm going to cut a centimetre, almost 2 centimetres up there. Have a look at my leftover card. I could just about get a shark's tail out of that. So a shark's tail is asymmetric, so the top half is usually much bigger than the bottom half. So draw it like that, cut it out, tuck it in, and the usual mix of a little bit of glue, fold that over. And again, I'm going to use a staple now. And we have a shark. To use it as a puppet, I need to rummage around, find another bit of leftover card. Here's a piece. Cut that into a strip, roll it up so it'll go around my fingers. Quick staple. Then put that in there. You could do it so that your finger goes straight up into the shark, but it usually works a bit better if you do it at an angle. So your finger comes in from the back of the shark and points towards its nose, and then fold the other side down. Make sure you don't fix the fins, and there we have a shark. And when the glue is dry, you could fold those fins out and we can have a shark and a coelacanth. And you could invent your own fish. If you have a look online, you'll find lots of pictures of ancient fish. And as we said before, you might go for a coelacanth, you might go for sharks, you might make a Dunkleosteus, you might make a belemnite, like modern squids. But now you can add some predators to chase the trilobites that are running around the living room floor. Thank you.